Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now a little while since I put anything up online apart from my EV tariffs video that went on at the beginning of July when all the tariffs changed. But this is the Q6. So the last thing I told you about the Q6 was some of the things that I really love about the car. So now I'm just going to talk about what's not so good. Now I've been running the car for a while, I thought I could give you a little update on some of the things that I'm really not that keen on or really aren't good enough for the Audi. Okay, let's talk about reliability. Now I'm fairly active on the Facebook groups, keep an eye on what's going on social media with other owners of the cars, so I've got a good kind of finger on the pulse of what's going on. Now I know that stuff is completely unrepresentative. Most people that are driving around the cars, no problem at all, never post anything, and the moment you get a fault you're going to go and tell loads of people about it online. This car's been pretty good. I've had to have the coolant system rebled because that was kind of hissing and gurgling and stuff, which really shouldn't have come out of the factory like that, but that wasn't too big a job at Audi. But the biggie seems to be the car just kind of dying on people, which is really annoying. Now I believe that is linked to either the 12-volt battery or maybe just removing and reconnecting the 12-volt battery and causing the car to reset itself is the whopper. But after 6 months of being pretty much fine, I loaded up the car with a load of camping gear. I had my daughter and one of her friends all going off to a camp. Tried to jump in the car to start it, and it was absolutely dead. Just did not respond to anything. Got out, locked the car, unlocked the car again, just hoping that kind of reboot would do it. Did that a couple of times. Absolutely nothing. I could put it into neutral, but I couldn't put it into drive. Couldn't turn it on. Didn't get any kind of air conditioning. The car was completely dead. I ended up calling Audi Assist, which is the warranty included kind of breakdown service, and they said they would send out someone from the AA, or I could wait until the next kind of Monday morning to send out an Audi technician. I said send the AA out a couple of hours later. In the meantime I had to get the girls and a load of camping gear into my wife's EV, which is a Fiat 500, so that was a bit of a squeeze. Anyway, before the AA came out, I tried the car again after about 90 minutes and it just started up and it's been fine ever since, which is a bit weird. Did email my local dealer and they really can't explain anything. They haven't really got back to me on that. So yeah, maybe it's software, maybe it's something to do with the 12-volt system, maybe it's something that gets sorted with an update. But I was absolutely stuck with a breakdown that really shouldn't have happened. And I know from social media, it's not just me, this has happened to quite a lot of owners. So here's another one, tyre noise. I've got the Sport, which has got the 19-inch wheels. I think it's a really attractive wheel, but the 235s on the front, 255s on the back. If you go up to the S-lines and the Edition 1, you get 255 on the front, a little bit wider and a bit wider on the back as well. These are the Goodyears. They're meant to be really quiet. They're meant to be an EV tyre. They are not. You just seem to get a really invasive amount of tyre noise off the front tyres in particular. Now Bjorn Nyland on his website, Tesla Bjorn, he tells me that he's measured the interior noise on these cars on the road. He tells me that the Q6 is as quiet as or slightly quieter than the old e-tron 55 that I used to have. That may be true, that may be distorted numbers because of being up in Norway. He's got winter tyres on half the time. It is a quiet car, but that kind of tyre noise is the kind of invading noise. It's the one that you notice the most, and it's just not very good. It does vary a lot with the road surface, and it's definitely coming up off the front tyre. So I do think that however quiet they've made this thing, they really need to do a lot better on getting rid of that front tyre noise. Now the old e-tron 55 was a real kind of, you know, lovely interior on it. It just felt like every material was really high quality. And that interior design has kind of filtered its way down through the A3 and even the A1 with the kind of layout of the cockpit on that thing. This is the new panoramic MMI. It's super stylish, but I've got to say the materials just aren't the same. This leather band that you get on the Sport and the S line, you get a different fabric here on the Edition 1. And it looks great. It doesn't feel so good. It just, you can feel something hard in the ridges underneath it. It's not actually as good as the one in our Mazda 2, which just feels a bit more kind of solid and substantial underneath, which is a bit of a shame. The plastic's up here, just a bit kind of cheap and nasty. And then the way this HUD, because I've got the sound and vision pack on this Quattro, the way that this kind of floats above and this kind of gap round here, and again, it's all hard plastics. I know it's not a tactile surface, it's not meant to be, but what I do find is this inner edge here reflects off the windscreen, you get a bit of a shine off it. So the interior just doesn't feel quite as premium as it did in other Audis. These steering wheel buttons, they're not separate buttons anymore. They're kind of haptic and touch sensitive, which is fine, it works okay, but it's really easy to brush against them with a kind of fleshy bit of your hand underneath your thumb, which is what I tend to do, and it brings up the telephone, it dials people, or it just changes the volume or the radio station, which I find a bit of a pain in the butt. This panoramic MMI, again, it's very clever, but I mean, that's the main menu. I fly an Airbus for a living. This is properly complicated. You know, I can work my way around a modern complex jet, but this thing has taken me quite a long time to get on top of it and find where stuff is. It's not that intuitive. There is a lot going on, and then you've got various other bits of kind of side menus you can bring up, and home menus and all sorts of stuff. It is very, very complicated to use all of this stuff. Now, my old car used to put the Audi kind of virtual cockpit, I think they called it, and you would put the map display up here in front of the driver. You can't do that on this car. So thankfully I've got the HUD, because that gives me my steering directions, but you don't bring up the map in front of you, which is in your eye line. So, you know, it's such a shame that that is not a feature that is available anymore. So you've got these drive select modes, which I can bring up on the menu as well. Whatever you're in, it always defaults back to what it would call balanced, but I've customized balanced on the display. So I've got individual here. But if you like to drive around in efficiency or in dynamic, next time you get in the car, it's going to be back in balance. So why can't it remember what you were doing last time? But I'll tell you what I don't like about this. The old e-tron, well, that didn't creep forward. It just remained stationary with the auto hold, the automatic park brake, until you touched a pedal, and then it would roll as you would expect it to. This thing, they've tried to recreate like the feel of an old automatic, you know, the torque converter autos, which is what the Q5 and I think the Q7 have. So if you take your feet off the pedals in this, if you haven't got the auto park brake engaged, it's going to start to roll. It creeps forward. It does that in sort of parking maneuvers where the auto handbrake, auto park brake doesn't come on. And I just think that's completely unnecessary, and it detracts a bit from the car. So the auto park brake, that takes either a double press on the brake pedal, or if you've been working out and you've been doing your squats in the gym, you can give it one really, really solid press on the brake pedal, but it's one hell of a massive press to try and get it to come on. And again, that just seems to be a little bit unnecessary. One pedal mode, it just comes on very, very quickly and easily whenever the car stops. So why can't auto hold system work much, much better like it did in my old car? Now, I love the interior on this. I like the sport seats which come across the range. I like having the light grey roof. I think it makes the car feel a bit more airy inside than having the dark roof. Not a big fan of the dark roofs on some of the Audis now, especially like the Q3, the smaller cars, because they make them feel really kind of dark and cramped inside. Audi offer a kind of creamy leather interior, which looks absolutely fantastic if you get to see it online. You can't keep that light roof if you're going with an S-line. There are no options on this. The only options you can have are the tow bar and the roof. That is pretty much it. So there aren't any options. You just have to choose between your Sport, S-line and Quattro. Now that might work great for fleet sales, but if you want to make your car a little bit different, if you want to add something to it, like cream leather interior, like air suspension, or anything else, like having the more advanced cruise control with the lane centering that doesn't come on any Q6 in the UK, that would be really nice to be able to add and sort of tick that option box. So it's just such a shame that you can't order any options either for the interior or for the technical side of the car. as you can see, I'm plugged in. I charged up last night. It cost me about £6 or £7 to charge this thing with Octopus Intelligent Go, which is a great tariff for me. Anyway, not talking about tariffs on this one. You can check out my other videos for that. Home charging works fine, but accessing the charging port, I mean, that is motorized, but it is incredibly slow. And on top of that, even though I've got the keyless entry and I've got the digital key set up on my phone, you have to unlock the car to then open the charge port. Whereas in the old car, if you had the key on you with the advanced key, you could just press on the charge port and it would open without unlocking the car first, which was a much nicer way of doing things. On top of that, yeah, this thing charges like a boss. I mean, I have seen the 270 kilowatts. If you're down in the teens when you're starting the charge and you've told it you're navigating to charge points, the battery temperature is great. This thing is still doing 200 kilowatts at 50%. I mean, the recharging on this is absolutely incredible. But 80% and up, the old car used to drop from like 150 down to 100 and then eventually down to 50 for that last bit. So this thing drops down to some very, very low charging speeds at the top end above 80%. So realistically, if you're looking at trying to kind of fill your battery between stops, you know, you're just not going to be worth doing much above 80%. So that does change your kind of range calculation, your distance between stops. That said, you know, if you're plugged into a fast charger, you're not plugged in long enough to go and have lunch when you're going up to 80%. So you might find yourself going a bit higher anyway, or you got to go dig out a charger that isn't a 300 or a 350 that operates at normal 400 volts, and then you'll get a 135 charge speed. You're going to get time to eat your sandwich. Boot size decent on this. I mean, it's pretty good. You can see I've just taken the parcel shelf out. Here's a little bit of classic kind of German engineering for you. And I only discovered how to do this the other day. But that parcel shelf does not fit in there. You can't kind of squash it down and get it in there. But I was watching Matt on CarWow with the Q5. It turns out you can remove these bits, which you have to kind of snap out of position, and then you can take those bits out, and then you can get the parcel shelf in. But as you can see, I'm storing stuff in those nets. That came as part of the storage pack, which included the frunk on my car, and then you get the nets on the back of the driver's seats as well. All the new cars come with the frunk, so I don't know if you can still get these nets. Maybe it's a bit different on the new car, but it just seems a bit daft that you have to pull that storage kind of base out, let everything kind of, so you've got to move everything to then put the parcel shelf under the back seat. Okay, let's talk about some of the warning systems on the car. I mean, it's full of them. It's got the kind of blind spot, cross traffic at the rear, cross traffic at the front, speed limit advisory, all sorts of stuff. The speed limit one is actually not too bad. It just kind of bongs for a couple of minutes, well, a couple of times at you, and then it goes quiet after a couple of minutes because it gives up. But it often misreads the speed limit, which is not great. The rear cross traffic, that slams the brakes on it. I mean, it's really brutal when it does that, and that's not great. And I've had a couple of times in this when the front braking has gone on, or certainly the warning ahead has gone on. Sometimes the lane departure system, even though I've put an indicator on, it's still trying to hold me in the lane. So the trouble with warning systems that don't work great is you tend to switch them off, and a warning system that's switched off isn't going to warn you anymore and isn't going to protect you. So they really need to get a little bit better on some of the warning systems. Okay, and one other thing, I think this will be the last one. I've already mentioned kind of the lack of optional extras on this car. You know, the spec is very much fixed, but that spec isn't always as good as it should be. I mean, this thing is it's a sport Quattro with the big battery, but it's about 70 grand's worth of car. There's no way that a 70 grand car should ever be supplied with manually adjustable seats. You know, memory seats should be standard. Matrix lights, and they're pretty much fitted across the board once you get to around a 50 grand price point, but they're not on this. They should be standard, not on a subscription on the app. Yeah, it's got some bits like the heated rear seats and stuff, which is good because that's a bit of a change in direction for Audi. It's much higher spec than some cars, but there's some stuff about it that I still think should absolutely be bog standard on a car at this price point, and it just isn't fitted, which is a bit of a shame. So am I pleased with the Q6? Well, yeah, there's a lot more that's really good about it than is bad about it. It is a very good car. It's been great on a road trip down to the Alps. Day to day, I mean, it's got so much range that I just don't have to charge it at public chargers very often at all. So it is proving to be a really good kind of family wagon. Loads of space in it, you know, loads of space in the boot. Dirt cheap to run at kind of £6 or £7 to fill the battery. So it is a great option. Just wish it was a little bit quieter, or maybe some of the materials inside were a bit better. Wish that stuff like Matrix was included as standard and I didn't have to subscribe to it. Memory seats would be really nice, but no one else has driven it. My son's not old enough to go on the insurance for this thing, so you know, that's not proving to be too much of an issue. So overall, still stand by my choice for the Q6, although there is a bit of me that wishes I got the Porsche Macan instead.